All right, 800-259-9231. So, Mark, was there more to your story about the security experts being overloaded with snitching, or was that pretty much?
Yeah, there is. I mean, it's one can expect everything that they say, but it's all funny. With its many the expert apparently. Oh, this is a couple of other experts. With its many jurisdictional boundaries and its persistent bureaucratic fault lines, our current system, although greatly improved since 9/11, affords many opportunities to let information slip. Too many occasions for human frailty to assert itself. Now, let me get this straight. The government was informed about the existence of the bomber, just like 9/11, and the bomber went about his business and did what he did, just like 9/11, but our system is greatly improved.
Sure, you can see it, right?
Oh, yeah.
No.
It should be crystal clear.
No.
I mean, it costs more. It must be better.
It certainly costs more. They certainly hassle a lot of people on the way into their airplanes.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. Obama will make it all better now.
Yeah, he's taking responsibility.
Mark, there are some things that are visibly different.
They're different.
That they would claim are better.
They're claiming better.
They're searching people now a whole lot at the border and within 50 miles from within the border at random checkpoints and stationary checkpoints and things like that. They're harassing everybody.
They're not doing that because of terror. They're doing that because of immigration. They want to catch illegal aliens.
Well, that's what they claim, but I mean they're doing it for all kinds of reasons. They also want to catch drug dealers too.
The 9/11 perpetrators were in the country legally.
I'm just saying they could claim that because they have more frustrations and inconveniences for the American people, that means that they're doing a better job.
It's the frustrations and inconveniences and killing and destruction that these people have, started with their wars of aggression in the Middle East and their occupation of these countries in the Middle East. And by occupation, I mean bolstering the kings and sheiks and whatever they are over there in these foreign countries because their people happen to sit on a land with a whole bunch of oil in it that's very interesting to us, and thereby raising the ire of what to me seem like like an area of the world of people that are probably religious fanatics to more extent than I would prefer them to be. So let's go smack the hornet's nest with a big stick and see whether some hornets come out and sting us, and if they do, it's their fault.
So is there more?
It keeps on going. Spy agencies are now share information in a way that they did not share it before 9/11.
See, they finally got email.
They still struggle to sort through a massive and growing array.
Hold on. Luther laughs, but there was a story. I don't know if you heard about it.
I hadn't.
A few years ago about how a significant portion of the FBI just was not email capable.
They didn't have email or email addresses.
They had hired in multiple IT administrators with the intention of getting them to implement an email system for the FBI, and these guys would up and quit, likely because they were being hired from the private market and then had to go and work as an IT administrator for a bureaucracy, and it was probably intolerably bad. But we didn't get to hear what they had to say as to why they were quitting. But the job never got completed. They spent like $170 million on trying to implement email for the FBI.
And this was just a couple of years ago?
A few years back. I don't remember exactly when we talked about that. But go ahead.
I could set up email when I was, in the single digits age.
Right.
Well, I mean, they can't have regular
understandably.
email because, if you just put luther.fbi at gmail.com, then everybo's going to do it.
My password is password.
Pretty soon we're going to have medj.fbi at gmail.com. We're going to have, iFreeman at gmail.com, .fbi at gmail.com.
But it's still not...
it'll be anarchy.
It's still not something that is very difficult. I mean, you mentioned Gmail. Google, while it is great in many ways, is also, like a lot of companies, very obedient to the state. I'm sure if they just went to Google and said, hey, can you help us out?
They absolutely would do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because
absolutely.
Google hosts domain names. Our freetalklive.com email is going through Google's servers when you send us email. They make that's one of the things they do. You can set up your domain name and multiple email addresses underneath it to be hosted by Google. But, that would probably be too inexpensive for them, and they would... some contractor would miss out on making $170 million.
Yeah, they got to come in over budget. That way they get a bigger budget next year.
Exactly.
That's always the case.
Yep.
All right, so more, Mark?
Yeah, but they still struggle to sort through a massive and growing amount of data about potential terrorist plots and suspects, experts say. The problem is that the system is clogged with information, one former CIA officer told the Washington Post. Huge numbers of names and details on possible suspects are overwhelming the agency, said the officer. Most of it isn't of interest, but people are afraid not to put it in.
Yeah, I love. Oh man, what was I listening? I think it was I was sampling Ernest Hancock's show recently to possibly get him on the Liberty Radio Network as one of our programs. And it was a great show. I've gotten in touch with his syndicate, and they never got back to me, so maybe I'll work on that later. But nonetheless, when I was listening, he played one of the clips from the 4409 guy. I guess he's got this. There's this chick over there. They've got the YouTube channel 4409. There's some entertaining videos there. But I guess what had happened was she'd been calling bureaucrats, and they finally told her to start recording these calls. And I think it was the gist of one of her calls where she was basically calling in and reporting just silly nonsense to these people as though she were a concerned citizen about something that her neighbors were doing or something that she saw when she was downtown. And it was I don't remember how asinine. I can't give you the exact example of what she said, but it was just some stupid garbage.
I'd be afraid to get on the radio and say that I did that.
Yeah, it was brilliant though, because you could call from a payphone. You could act like you're a really concerned person, and you could talk about some random crap about how I have been watching this guy, and he's been walking his dogs every day around my neighborhood, and today he had 5 dogs instead of 2. One of them had a very big collar on. Just coming up with. I just came up with that on the spot. I don't know if it's probably not the most creative thing, but just coming up with some mundane something or other that a paranoid busybody might call the government agency for. You don't leave any contact information. Just give them another message to listen to during the daytime.
I don't see any particular point in doing that. I mean, I'm not for terror, and if the government agencies manage to, in their wide sweeping net full of holes, manage to catch themselves one person that might commit some heinous act, I'm for them catching that. I just don't think that these people are the best qualified. Honestly, I wonder if they're remotely qualified, quite honestly, but I don't think they're the best qualified people to do this, and I think that that the government themselves are the ones that create the problem.
I remember one of the calls. It was brilliant. Actually, she was talking to somebody who was at one of these report lines. It was an anonymous tip line for guns. So the idea was that you'd call in if you knew somebody who had a gun, and then the cops would go, and if they made an arrest, you'd get a $1,000 cash reward. And so she was asking questions about the reward. Well, how do I get the reward? Can I get it now? What do I need to give you? I'd like to get the reward. And they said, well, who do you know that has a gun? What kind of gun do they have? Well, they've got machine guns. Well, who are they? Where are they? And she ended up describing the police to the police. It was hilarious.
Genius.
Yeah. Toll-free number, 800-259-9231.
I've always thought it would be fun in the airport to go up with one of the cops that are there and describe, there's these people that they're dealing in stolen property and accepting stolen money, and they're running all around.
Yeah.
They're the TSA. Get them.
They're wearing uniforms. All right, we can come back with more. Take your calls about anything. This is Free Talk Live.